How you doing, Polo?
I'm good, Michael. How are you?
I'm all right.
Michael, did I see you at Reproductions like a week ago?
Maybe.
Yeah, I said hi to you, but you didn't recognize me.
Hmm. I don't know. It wasn't me, Polo.
It wasn't you. Then there's someone that looks exactly like you.
Yeah, it
I
was.
left thinking, oh, Michael has a doppelganger here in Tucson.
No, no, it was my brother.
Yeah. Do you have a brother?
I have a brother.
Is he like almost twin?
No, it's not twin. It's my
No,
younger brother. But I
younger
know
brother.
he does photography, so he could have been at a
Oh,
rip.
you know what? Then it was him because he was working with some photography pieces I saw.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I
that's
believe
funny.
it. I believe it was him. It was not me.
Yeah.
Why will I not recognize you, Polo? You can dress me anything. I'll know you. I've known you over the years, so.
Yes. Yeah, that's what I figured. I said, I wonder if that's one of Michael's relatives because he didn't
Yeah,
recognize
it's
me.
my brother. A
Yeah,
lot of people say the same thing. They see him and think that is me.
yeah, you guys look very similar.
Yeah.
Have you been watching Champions League football?
No,
No.
no, no. I mean, I have so much work to do that I really don't have
Yeah.
time
Two, I
for.
just recorded it night, watch it at nighttime post.
Yeah. Maybe I should start doing that.
Yeah, get some enjoyment out of it.
Yeah. So I did send the comments from Demon Klingo.
Yeah. I reviewed them. I just didn't know if we were going to discuss them in this meeting. I was going to send out an email and then I didn't. Um,
Yeah, so I was just hoping that you people, I think people should take time to look at it. If you want to do it
I
in
think so.
that is fine because
I mean, he made some really good comments. There's just a lot of them.
yeah, yeah, that's what I noticed. I glanced through. He did a lot of comments. The board may want to consider it.
Yeah. So-
And also, what we're trying to do this time because Desiree just got here. We're trying to. We're thinking we are going to request for all the advisory board so that she can take a little bit of time to look at these guidelines and be able to say her own input into it before
oh,
we really finalize all of them. It's not just for the barrier.
yeah.
We want to do it for West University, we'll do it for Fodo, and we'll do it for the barrier. So she has a bit of time to quickly glance through it and if there are any suggestions she could make, let her make. I know she caught it at the last end, but it would be a good thing to give her the chance to at least take a look at it and just say what she has to say, then we can move forward. Because they are made, they are voluminous. I don't think that she is going to do it within a very short time. I don't know how her speed will be on that, but that would be something for us to consider. I'll bring
Yeah,
it up.
thanks, Michael. Yeah, I do want to take a look at them. And I've, started, but there's a lot. And then also just to kind of ensure we're being consistent across the various, they're all going to be different, but just to at least make sure that we're not like contradicting ourselves from one to the other, that kind of thing.
Yeah. And I think more particularly, she will be looking, trying to make sure there is consistency with code provision. So
Yeah.
every advisory board is different, but you cannot, and we are not going to allow you to say or put a guideline that is really at variance with with what is in the book. I'm not saying that you people have done any of that anyway. I'm just saying that we're going to cross-check. I will also be cross-checking too. So. Okay, let's see, we have,
Yeah, so we have quorum.
let's see, we have, let me see, just give me a minute, here. Make sure we have, Polo is here. I have Mitch is here. I have Steven here. You only have three.
No, don't we have four? There's Steven, Mitch, Darren, and then I'm here.
Darren here.
Yeah.
Oh. Okay. You
Hi,
have a quorum.
Michael.
Hi. Yeah, you have a quorum.
You know, I didn't confirm quorum this week, but I guess we have it.
I thought everybody was going to just didn't worry myself on that. So
Should we just start?
it's entirely up to you. I think
Let's start because we have one review today, and then we want to try and look at Damien's comments on the design guidelines, which are kind of extensive. So let's do a call to order today. Philip is not here as of now. Darren,
Here.
Paolo, I'm here. Hope is not. Hope is coming. She just texted me. Mitch,
Here.
Stephen,
Here.
great, and Grace is not here yet. But Hope is here. Hope, can you hear us?
Yes.
Great. Okay. So agenda item number 2, review and approval of the meeting minutes from April 17th, 2025. I can make a motion to approve those.
I'll second.
Second. Let me see who this. Okay, Grace is trying to get in. She says she has the wrong link. So there's a motion to approve the minutes from 4/17/2025. Darren, yay or nay?
Yay.
Hope,
Yay.
Stephen,
Yay.
Mitch,
Okay.
and Paolo, yes. So it's been approved. Five votes. Let me take a second and try and send Grace the link.
Hey, I figured it out. I apologize
Okay.
for being late, guys.
That's okay, Grace. Thanks for joining. So we just approved the meeting minutes from 4/17/2025. Agenda item number 3, call to the audience. Michael, do we have anybody?
no, Mr. Chair.
No? Okay. And let's get on to the first review. That's SD 0425000056, 538 West 17th Street. It's a compliance review for an existing attached rear porch without permits in the rear yard. It's a full review, and I believe we approved an ADU unit on this lot several months ago, and it's going to be presented by Gustavo Silva. So Gustavo, the floor is yours.
Hello, board. I hope you didn't miss me too much.
Yeah, so Gustavo, just a minute. Before we get into this, Mr. Chair, who is Jim Ostrom?
Who?
Jim, there's a participant here by the name of
Hi,
Jim.
this is Jim Ostrom. I'm just a resident in Barrio Viejo.
Oh,
Just
Okay.
listening in, just curious.
well, thanks for attending, Jim.
Welcome, Jim. All are welcome.
Thanks.
And it looks like Philip is here. Philip, thanks for joining.
Hey, guys.
Okay, Philip is here. Philip arrived at 4:06 p.m.
No, I've been here for a while. I was there for roll call and everything.
You were for roll call?
Yeah, well, I heard it, but
Your
wasn't called
microphone
upon, you know?
Well, we have you officially on record as joining us 4:06. So this particular project, you will recall Gustavo had done a courtesy review with you about 2 times, and later on came back for a full review for the ADU. At that time, Gustavo did not know that there was a back porch that had not been permitted on the property. So after that, he wanted to pull a permit for the ADU by Planning and Development Services policy. If you have an unpermitted or a zoning violation on any item on the property you are working on, and it is discovered in the course of permitting, you will have to resolve that first before any new permit can be issued. And so Gustavo and the property owner, they have spent time trying to see what they could do about that rear porch. It was first, they thought maybe they can just tear down the porch and move along with the ADU and that kind of back and forward thing. It had nothing to do with your review anyway. But I believe they finally realized that the best thing for them to do is to keep the porch. So they are coming to you today. What he'll be presenting will just be that porch in the back, which was constructed without any historic review or without any permit. So your review today is just on that porch. And I believe if this goes on positively and everything goes well, then Gustavo will then now have the opportunity to pull a permit for the ADU, was recommended for approval. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you for the introduction. And yes, that is correct. As some of you may remember, we did this review for the ADU almost a year ago. Got approved, then it got approved by the next board. And then after all of that, we heard that the back porch in the property, which is a 216 square foot back porch, that's been there since before the owners bought the property. The owner has had this property for over 10 years. It turns out the back porch is unpermitted. We've gone through a lot of things. It's been inspected. The porch is fully compliant with building. So it has a CD set that we have drawn, a retroactive CD set that we have drawn, and we need to get it past historic to be able to get it approved. And we can't build, not us, the owner of this property cannot build the ADU until this porch is resolved. So if whoever the host is can give me a chance.
Sorry, Gustavo. Let me make you the focus here.
Thank you. So the property is 538 West 17th Street, is the house at the edge of the Barrio Historico on the west side. It's this house. So on the back of this house, there is an attached porch, detached porch. The porch can only be seen from the alley. It's this post and beam structure that's back there. As I said, looking at aerial views, we depict that this porch was built somewhere between 2010 and 2011. This was before the owner bought the property. This is the porch as seen from inside the property. So this is a development zone. West 17th Street is here. This is the Huckleberry, like this is the path. This is our property back right here. This is the porch we're talking about. Kind of like we went through the whole development zone, and there's multiple houses that have similar extending porches happening through them, like this one right next to it. This one has one up front. This one has one on front and up back. And they're all built in the same similar post and beam construction method. Every house on this block is a contributing property. And again, like pointing out this one that has that porch in the back, and this one that has the front and back porch. 502 has that front porch right there. that is practically the same, columns, beams, and then the roof on top. And it's also like not intersecting with the roof structure of the house. And then throughout the alley, you have all these different like detached structures that also follow the same construction method. It is a wooden porch, constructed with traditional wood post and beam framing, exposed wood joist, and supporting a tongue and groove wood ceiling. All the structural members are painted in a red tone, and the ceiling's like painted a green. And from the front street, you can never experience that porch. From the back, it is there. You can see it behind the little casita that's already there, and that. And from the side, it's there. It is not touching the structure. Like the porch itself is detached from the house. It has not intervened with the house. You can see here the house and the 216 square foot porch that's on the back. A bit of close-ups. You can see here, like it's not touching the house itself, like the water still runs through it. This is the columns, beams, and the porch that's up there. You can see it from this alley side. And yeah, what we're looking is for approval of this existing condition that has been here for, as we can say, more than 16 years. And it's the only blockage that this homeowner is having to be able to build the ADU that was approved over a year, like about a year ago. Thank you.
Gustavo, do you need any setback or zoning, any sort of waiver required as part of the historic process in order to get the porch approved?
I hadn't thought of that, Grace, but we probably do need like setback from this side, and from like, yeah, setback approval, because this is less than 2/3 of the height of that detached structure.
Okay, so just on the west side.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Do you know what that measurement is, Gustavo, right now?
No,
No.
let me, I could try to measure it. Let me see. Yeah. Let me try to open something while I measure it. You can keep. One, two, three.
If the board is going to recommend a waiver of this setback, Gustavo, you are going to revise your plan and actually call it out. It's not
Yes.
called out on the plan.
Does anybody have comments on the porch itself?
It's about 6 feet.
6 feet?
Yeah.
You know how tall the porch is?
The porch is 9 feet tall.
So you're there.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we are.
You should probably be good.
It's 9 feet 4 inches, so
At the tallest point or the lowest point?
the tallest point.
And it sheds water from south to north, probably.
Yeah,
So you might be good.
might be good. Yeah.
Are there any comments on the structure itself from anybody?
No, I'm curious about precedent. How often do we go back in and require a change on something that's been sitting there that long?
Well, compliance review are routinely done for properties. Even when people are in zoning violation, they come to you to review projects. It's the same thing like the porch has been there for this long and they're coming to you to review. You are reviewing it as if the porch is not yet constructed. You are reviewing it as if they came to you and said, here's what we want to put up. Would it fly? That's basically the chance.
So am I understanding it correctly that it seems to comply and also was built prior to this person owning the property? Am I understanding that correctly?
Well, whether it was built prior to the person owning the property or not is not a consideration here. The person should have done due diligence to know that that porch was never permitted before buying the property. So the fact that the person acquired the property with the porch already there does not really does not deviate from the review that is being done today.
Understandable on the legal term, but it does speak to intent in regards to the fact that they are proposing this consideration under all the circumstances and complying. So there is you are correct, Michael. And yes, I thank you for that information.
And there's one thing that a lot of people often don't understand. When they talk of a non-conforming use, it means that at the time that the thing was constructed, it was permitted, it met code, and the code changed to a different code and different dimension. So when you come with that kind of thing, it is non-conforming because at the time that it was built, it met the code at that time and it was permitted. So if it was not permitted, it is not a non-conforming use.
So is the question then, if it were presented to us as designed and is standing, would we approve it? Is that what we're supposed to consider?
That's where you are.
Does anybody still want to comment, or I can make the motion?
You know, I mean, it's a basic ramada. I mean, if I were to like, you know, evaluate it as something newly presented, I'd ask for the beam to be a little, you know, less bulky, just because I don't know, but or just minor things. It just seems seems okay to me.
I agree with that.
I agree too.
Yeah, it seems congruous with some existing elements, so.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll
I
second.
second.
Let's go around. Grace,
Aye.
Stephen,
Aye.
Mitch,
Aye.
Hope,
Aye.
Paolo, yes, Darren,
Aye.
Philip.
Yeah.
Congratulations, Gustavo. 538 West 17th Street, motion to approve, 7 yeses, 0 nos. Thank you.
Thank you so much, all of you, and have a great week.
Bye.
Bye.
Aye.
And I'll talk with you soon, Michael, to see the next steps.
Yeah.
Okay. Bye, everyone.
So, agenda item number 5, Michael had sent out Damien's revisions to the design review guidelines, which I think we should take time today to try and review all of them. Did everybody get a chance to look at those?
Yeah.
I've opened it.
Yes, not thoroughly, but yes.
Yeah, there's a lot. How do you guys want to proceed with this? Go through each node or?
Yeah, top down, I guess.
I think some of it looks a lot more in-depth than it actually is. I think a lot of it's just kind of a little bit of reordering, but we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, in general, it seemed like he was restating what we'd already said. Some, you know, there are definitely some improvements. A lot of it seemed just the way Damien wanted to say it instead of the way we wanted to say it. So, which is okay. It said this, you know, in many cases, it's basically said the same thing. I do think he did make some improvements.
Yeah, I think so too. Well, does that mean we just want to approve it, or?
Um,
I'm tempted.
I have some. I'd like to go to.
Let's go through it. I mean, it's gonna
Okay.
go through it quickly. Is there anybody that can bring it up on screen and kind of move it around? I'm not able to do that.
I can. Do I have share permission?
Oh, okay, hold on. Oh, let me do that for you.
I have to jump off at 5:45, by the way, but
Be done.
hopefully.
So before we go through this, I just want to bring to your attention on what that, you know, what Damon has done is just his personal review thing. Just be aware that the final document will be a document that is going to be submitted by the board, not by them.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
And secondly, before we started the meeting, I was saying that our new historic preservation officer, Desiree, got here towards the tail end of some of these reviews. We're thinking of being able to give her the opportunity to, when you finish, to go through what you will consider your final draft so that she can put in a little bit of input. I will also look at it as well before we finally get into the finish line. This is not just going to be for the barrio. It will be the same thing that she will do for West University. It will be the same thing that she will do for Fodlo, because she got it almost at a time where all the design guidelines are going through PRS and eventually will go to the city manager and mayor and council. So we would like her to have the opportunity to take a look at all of them and give her own suggestion as to what we need to do.
Does that mean that Desiree is going to look at these simultaneously or one at a time?
No, she will look at it independently once you finish. After you have completed your review and said this is what we think our final document is, it is submitted to her for her to take a look at it and give any feedback. If she didn't see it necessary that we need to bring it back to the board to discuss our concerns, then we'll schedule it and bring it back to the board. And it is not just going to be for the barrio, it is also going to be for the university.
Yeah. Desiree, is there like a hypothetical timeline that you would need to do this?
I hadn't thought of that, but I think if I could have, a few weeks to look at these, that would be good. Yeah, I just need time to go through them and kind of give one last staff review after all the changes, have been made, because I know our staff has looked at previous versions, but we want to just do one more review before, moving it forward. And also making sure, yes, everything's kind of consistent. At least, those early sections, right, of what we look at, what requires review, things like that. Promise I'm not going to make any, drastic, rewrites or anything like that, but yeah.
Seems fair enough.
And basically, we'll just be looking to make sure that the advisory boards are not bringing something that are contrary to the code. That would be the most important thing that we'll be looking at, to make sure that what we are saying is not different from what is said in the code.
Sounds good. Let's move on. Hope, do you want to go forward
Here
with
we
it?
go. So this is a reorder, I would say.
Did he change the whole font to Roboto, or was that what we were using? And
I thought I was using Roboto.
okay,
I don't think we should worry about the
no,
font comments.
yeah, no, I was
Yeah,
just
it's annoying. Yeah. So I don't know how you want to. So this is what makes me think it's reordered.
yeah. And I've read this twice, and I don't have any problems with it.
Yeah, me neither.
Okay. Okay, this is all Liz. Similar.
Yeah.
He's definitely wants us to define things a certain way. Just gonna scroll down to show everybody what was cut. See, yeah.
And likewise, I didn't see any problem with this section.
Okay.
So Desiree and I had informed Damon that if the board so chooses, if there's any point that the board would like him to give clarification and they're reviewing it, then we can always invite Damon here to clarify for us.
Yeah.
That be what the board wants, we can do that.
Right, I'm looking, I can see that he's wanting to be careful on how we describe the National Register of Historic Places.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So, right under purpose of design guidelines where he changed the dates.
Yeah,
1862
Yeah.
to 1950.
54.
I think instead of the word the, it should probably be from 1862.
Hmm.
Since
Yeah.
you put specific dates on there.
Oh, I'm looking at a Word document. Okay, so is this Word document that I'm gonna make these little changes to gonna be our working document? And then I can actually cut it back into the Google Doc?
Yes.
Okay,
I think we can save the Google Doc as a version. You can just upload this too, if that works
that's
better for
true.
you.
Okay, I'll do that.
Yeah. So keep your document as another version and just use this one so that at least you still have what you had as a original document. And then this one can be a revision version 1 or version 2, something like that.
So on page 8, where he changed it to 1950, is that the correct date? Because I was always under the assumption it was 1945. Michael,
We can look into that.
Yeah, we can double check the period of significance.
Okay, I'll make a note.
And the significance of the blue versus the red is
I think the blue might be left over from us.
Mhm.
I can't remember.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, the
Okay.
blue are the leftover from your version. Because I had requested that Grace should send to us a Word document. So Grace sent to us a Word document and I sent it to Daryl. So
Okay.
that blue looks to me like a leftover from.
Yeah. All right, I just made it black. I'm just going slowly. Stop me if you want me to stop.
I hate the word retained.
You do? You like kept?
No, I mean, what about, I don't know, retain, I'm always thinking retaining wall. What about maintained? I mean,
I
it
think, I
where
think
are you?
override me if necessary.
Preserved?
Preserved.
I think Devon is using the word that is used in preservation briefs and
Is retained?
yeah.
Okay, then just leave it. I'll get over it.
Sorry.
That's okay.
Okay. Huh. Okay.
Did he add painting?
Where's that, Philip?
Down at the I
Design
don't think
review
he
team.
did.
Uh-huh. Why is it in a different font? Huh?
I don't know. It's saying not required.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's true, right?
Yeah, unfortunately, huh?
I mean,
But is this where, who regulates that? Is this where it's regulated, or is this regulated somewhere else and we're just repeating it?
Yeah, some of those things, I don't necessarily know if they are accurate. I'm actually working on a document that'll, we're going to share with everyone as well, that provides clarity on what is reviewed under, minor, major, and then what's not reviewed. So that's one of the things that I want to make sure is consistent
Well, look at
with our code.
I think
the
we
top
should
of page
painting it.
10. It's included changes to paint color under minor review.
Oh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would guess the routine maintenance means painting it the same color or painting it similar color. They don't need a review. But
Typical
changing the color could
examples
be minor.
include
I would add painting of the same color as existing.
Or repaint. Oh yeah.
Like who, can we decide that, or is that is there a overriding
Yeah, it's the
regulation there?
zoning code that,
The zoning, yeah.
mhm, or UDC.
Yeah, and that takes out painting. That
Right, we
excludes
don't
that.
review paint, generally speaking, unless it's an individually significant or individually listed property.
Oh. It's a
Or if
shame.
But
it's
should
part of
we-
like a larger project, but paint on its own, we don't review. And same goes for landscaping. Mailboxes, I don't know, Michael, if we've reviewed mailboxes before. I would be surprised if we did.
We don't.
Hmm?
We don't.
Yeah.
So you're saying we should remove all this?
So Desiree and I were looking at the code and working on a list of items that are subject to minor review and some items that are not. And that is part of the reason why we're saying that we would like to have the opportunity to take a look at all these design guidelines. So we would look at these, and some of these things that are here, if they're not on that list or they are not specified by code, we're going to take them out.
Okay.
And
So should we
this
just
is
Yeah, if you
in,
want to leave it now, and we can circle back and confirm what's
Just leave it
required by
in the
code
middle.
and yeah.
I mean, we've had examples recently where it would have been great to have that authority.
Yeah. Everybody
To
was.
review paint. And I wonder, I mean, there's probably historic districts in the US where you can't just paint your building. I wonder what triggers that.
Yeah, who gets to say?
It's the zoning code. It's the preservation ordinance, outlines, what is required. What's, historic, minor, full, or, not required review.
Mhm. And does
Okay.
anything being a historic district change any of that, or is that's
Yeah, it is the historic district section of the UDC.
okay.
So that's what governs the
Uh-huh.
HPZs. That's what pretty much outlines our entire
So even there, there's not,
regulatory.
yeah. So even there, those are exempt from the regulation.
So like the interior standards, that doesn't regulate at all.
What?
I don't know, like paint or landscape. I remember Jody Gibbs was very adamant that landscape was a reviewable item. And
No, because it is a reviewable item if it is part of a larger project.
what does a larger project mean?
Okay, for example, when they were doing the subdivision at 450
Miramonte, yeah.
the Miramonte homes. Those ones, if they come out with a landscaping palette or plan, yes, those are subject to review because those are bigger projects. So you review landscape in that instant. But for single family residences, when somebody is just doing a little bit of landscape in front of their house or in the backyard or things like that, those are not subject to it.
Yeah, we
And
typically see landscape reviews for city projects, parks, larger commercial projects or institutional projects, like Michael mentioned. With residential property, that's less common unless they're doing a bunch of work and landscape. For example, they might erect a wall that could take out a mature tree or something like that. But yeah, to Michael's point, we wouldn't review, people planting
I'm
things
just
in their yard.
curious. I'm curious if the in the landscape proposed by Miramonte, if that sculpture on the corner of Simpson and Meyer was included in that plan as reviewed.
if it was part of the plan, it should have been reviewed.
Okay, I'm just wondering. So I don't know. No direction intended here, but just curious.
Okay, so I think we said we're gonna leave this in for now. I'm gonna keep scrolling down.
So Hope, if you can go back where he made the change where transform Sonoran or no traditional transitional. So is he
You're right.
saying that that's a Sonoran row house?
I don't
Does
know.
anybody have any comments with that? I mean, if you look at the top one, and I am by far no expert at this, the top photo, the very first one, that to me, or drawing, is the Sonoran row house, that one.
Yeah.
The one just below it used to look like the top, and they put a gable roof
Okay.
on it. And then the transitional, I was always known
I
that
think
to
the
be,
problem is that it says twice row. If you
No, I
take
think
out
this
the
first
section,
row would come
yeah,
out,
exactly,
but I
and
don't
then it
know.
makes sense.
Does that make sense?
Yep,
but is that a Sonoran row house in your mind, Philip?
it's a transitional Sonoran row.
Okay, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
There was just a double, double row there.
I got it now. Makes sense.
Yeah, that's what was causing the confusion.
Okay. All right, keep going. I see what he did. Okay, I don't see anything problematic there.
Agreed.
No, it's very
He
good.
did add this line, a single outlier may not be used to justify a proposal that exceeds the prevailing height or scale. It sounds right to me.
That's a powerful sentence.
Yeah.
It's okay because he says may not. Oh, wait, the may not,
May not be used.
I mean, may
That
not,
appropriate?
that's,
No, I agree with it. It's appropriate because it could be leveraged to change the algorithm in a way that, anyway, I agree with it.
but could it, I mean, mhm.
You could always add to like further emphasize the point that we're looking at the prevailing influence or prevailing pattern in the neighborhood, right? We're not looking at just one example.
I
Like
love that.
there could be like a bad precedent, right? And
Yes.
they're like, we're not
Yeah.
looking at that one, we're looking at, or it's like a unique type of building and in the
Yeah.
district that's, doesn't really represent what the district is.
I agree, that's much better than
Yes.
saying may not be used because that excludes it completely, right?
Okay, so what do you like? What should I fix it to?
Can you say that again, Grace?
Desiree.
I'm sorry, Desiree.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
sorry,
okay.
Desiree.
No worries. So you could say,
Take it down here.
we can wordsmith it later, but essentially we look at the prevailing influence, or I'm sorry, prevailing pattern
Yes.
in the neighborhood. And you could, keep that, or if you want to wordsmith it. I mean, I think it's a good point to keep, right? That,
What do you think about just adding that to the beginning? Let's
mhm.
see. We examine I don't know if we should be using we. The prevailing
Yeah.
pattern in the neighborhood is examined. So a single outlier may not be used to justify a proposal that exceeds the prevailing higher scale.
And I think the powerful point here is the word prevailing. Because when you
Yeah.
look at UDC 5.8.9, when they talk of setback, they talk about prevailing setback. So you cannot just use one setback to justify what you are doing. It has to be prevailing, means that it has to be something that is a pattern in the neighborhood. So the word prevailing becomes an important word here.
Okay, are we happy to move on?
Yep.
Questions to consider?
I think it's pretty good. What he put in there. I would just say in that research and context part, a bit further up, yeah. He says your design should be informed by research in the original story. I would say if applicable, your design should be informed because he kind of says that most empty lot had a structure. I don't know if that's true. We built on empty lots and they did not have a historic structure. So
Okay, help me
It's
find where to
strange.
put that. Where is that?
Right there. Go down one line
Is
to
in
your
progress.
right, the end of that sentence.
Okay. If applicable, your design, is that what you're saying?
Yes, yeah. Meaning if there was a historic structure.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Shouldn't that be directly after original structure? So it's less ambiguous. Your design should be informed by research the original structure if applicable, including its height. I'm sorry, I guess it's the same.
No, I don't know, this kind it reads okay to me.
Okay, great.
Under 3, contemporary design, it says should be undertaken with the guidance of a trained design professional. Is there any way, I mean, we've had some trained design professionals do some pretty weird stuff in our neighborhood. Is there any way to specify trained in historic preservation? That's, I don't know how we would, you know, it's how we would make that stick might be a little difficult, but we've got, you know, there's a lot of trained design professionals that have no clue what's going on in a historic district. And I mean, and not that they're ill-intentioned, I mean, look at the project on Cushing that we just reviewed, you know, a couple months ago.
Yeah, that's a great example.
Yeah, you could say trained historic preservation professional, or even, you know, a design professional that meets the Secretary of the Interior standards for architecture.
I think it's going too far. We're taking out a lot of people that have done good work too. I mean,
No, there are, no question.
yeah, so now we're restricting that. That's not, I don't think should be an intent of
Really,
it.
you're trying to create too much limitation here.
Yeah. I
What
mean, I
about
understand
with-
the intent, but this is all about how sensitive this whole paragraph is good, and it sensitizes everybody, or, you know, any professional to on the right road. And I know.
There's plenty of other backstops in this document, so I'm not like really tied to this. So if it's not inappropriate to modify this paragraph, that's fine.
Okay. Moving on. All right, this says 54. Paula, we are gonna have to check that date.
What? 45. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
Of the project, there should be a paragraph here.
Okay.
And usually, I don't know if this document we did it, we in our contract, and so project is always capitalized because you're talking about a specific project, but I'm not sure if we kept this up here. No, it seems we always have it small. It's good.
Design
Lowercase,
elements
yeah.
outside of the project
Project
development
development
zone.
zone. Yeah.
I don't know. Does that other design elements outside of the project development zone that you wish to incorporate must be established within the HPZ, and only, I think it's a full sentence.
But it's the project development zone, not the project development zone, no?
Okay.
I don't. What is the project development zone?
Maybe it should read outside. Oh, hold on. Design elements outside of the project. Should it be project apostrophe S?
Yes, that's what I mean.
Development zone.
That's
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay.
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
Sorry. Okay.
Should be an apostrophe S.
Got it. Okay. Carrying on.
In the height section here, so in the first paragraph, for example, second sentence, for example, a parapet roof structure cannot be directly compared to a gabled or hipped roof structure as they're perceived massing differs significantly. And he removed something we had added. And if we go down, oh, hold on, maybe it's in that struct section. We had said something like similarly, a
Yeah. Spanish colonial mission revival or Pueblo revival building. Is that what you're saying?
Yep.
River roof line that varies in height. I don't know why that got removed.
And this is germane because, yeah, it's just like a Pueblo revival has dips in it and then higher sections and lower sections. I just don't think a straight parapet should be you shouldn't be able to use the height of a straight parapet building to the highest point of a Pueblo revival building. For the same reason that you can't use a gabled or hipped roof as precedent for that height.
Okay, so I mean, this, it seems like this whole thing got cut.
Yeah.
So do you want me to just put it back in?
I would vote yes.
Put it up there.
How did you get this, the part that was cut? I'm looking here, show comments, and then,
I don't know why that's not showing up.
yeah, it's not showing up in mine here. Okay, this is better.
So this would be not struck out.
Why is this taken out now? Like it's back down here. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, strange.
I don't know how I think I'm gonna have to type
So
it.
we
But
added the whole thing with the prevailing height. Is that true, or did we have that in?
we had it.
We had it. Okay, good.
Hope can we just put it in blue and then come do it later? Is that?
Yes, I will. Yes, I'm gonna, I'll make a note. So my plan is to, when we're all done, accept the changes and do these things. I'm just gonna put this in blue so I see it. I don't know.
I don't know that it'll let you because
I'm in review mode probably.
I think
can do
it's
this
because
though.
we're trying to edit the formatting of the actual text, but this is
Maybe.
being overridden by the track changes. So once you
Yeah.
accept it, you'll be able to edit it again.
Okay, all right, great.
No, I think you have to reject if you try right click, and it should give you the option to reject
I think that would work as well. Yeah.
the deletion. Yeah, exactly.
And then I have a question on the second paragraph down below.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So 2 paragraphs down, it says maximum height in the HPZ is measured as the vertical distance between the highest part of a building/structure and the finished grade at the midpoint of the front facade of the principal building and is applied consistently throughout the project. Can anyone explain what that means? Yeah, go ahead if you have a sense of what he's getting at there. And when I read it, I was trying to think of what, are there, is that because it measured as the vertical distance between the highest part of a building and the finished grade at the midpoint of the front facade?
Yeah.
So,
yeah, that's clear. I mean, that's how we often do it.
okay.
But what do you think that means, Philip?
Well, I think, let's say you have a building along the street that's like this. highest part of the building structure. Let's say this is up here, right? There's the midpoint and there's the highest part, and this is how you measure it.
From the midpoint of the grade.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I see. So it doesn't, the highest part of the building doesn't have to be in the middle of the building.
No, I don't think so. That's what this
Okay.
doesn't specify that. Yeah.
That's what I was stuck on.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just from where do you measure the highest part, and that's where it says the midpoint. Yeah. And we have applied this differently in the past. It's good to have this. Yeah.
Okay.
We have, I mean, I'll be honest, I've used it the other way. I've used it here.
No longer. It's over. Okay, I'm gonna keep going.
You need a good
Anything else,
board for that, hope to catch that.
Wait.
Oh, under building materials, he says has a width of 10 inches, a minimum width of 10 inches. I wonder if we should change that to thickness of 10 inches.
We can do
What
that.
do you construction people think?
We say width of wall, but at least if
I think that's fine.
Yeah.
Do you
What
want-
are you,
which
why are
word
you
do you want?
making that distinction, Stephen? Where are you coming from
Well,
there?
width to me would mean left to right.
That's what he's talking about, I
Oh,
think.
it is what
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
talking about.
Well,
Oh,
The
I think
thickness-
he's talking
He's talking
about
the width of the wall.
yeah, the depth of the wall.
Or the-
if he's talking about depth of the wall, that should be specified. But if he's talking about block that is left to right or whatever.
Yeah.
it's
Inside out, it's
Sorry,
10.
guys.
No. Maybe, what is that? That's,
How
I think
thick?
Stephen was suggesting thickness, right? I think that works.
Yeah.
okay.
thickness, yeah.
You know, there's one little part there I'm not 100% sure about. It says this is not exhaustive. I don't really like alternative materials will be considered on a case-by-case basis. I don't know what alternative materials there are. I mean, I think that's going to leave it open for people to try and push wood frame, even though it says no wood frame up top. I mean, they might use mass timber. There's this new mass timber push here in the United States. I don't think that's a appropriate building material. I would like to just take that last sentence
But
completely.
but look, there's other insulated concrete blocks than ICF, right? We need to, yeah.
Don't they all classify, if it's an insulated concrete block, it should be under ICF. I think that's, I just don't like to see somebody come in with a mass timber building or a post and beam concrete structure with frame fill-in. You know, those are all alternatives.
Although, what if it said alternative masonry materials?
That would be perfect.
Okay.
Gloria would
Because,
be
you know-
part of that. but-
Mr. Chair, members of the board, that word alternative material being used on a case-by-case basis, that was started when West University was revising their design guidelines some times ago. The intent or the idea behind that was to give allowance for new technology or new construction material that may come up down the road. And that gives the board, that is why when they talk of a case-by-case basis, it still gives the board the authority to deny or to reject any proposal. It doesn't mean that you have to accept everything that comes.
Right.
It was just an idea to give allowance for now that new construction is coming on, new technology, things are coming up like that. That was the intent at that point.
So
I mean, go ahead, Stephen.
well, we haven't accounted for rammed earth. Was that intentional?
I think it just falls under Adobe. I mean, he's got up there, what is it? He says Adobe block, so I'm assuming include Adobe. I don't know what just Adobe is. Rammed earth, because he has Adobe, comma, Adobe block.
I mean, so yeah, I mean, so rammed earth isn't masonry, but I mean, so just to throw out the question, I mean, is rammed earth acceptable? I mean, I would imagine. Probably not.
I mean, I like it, but is it, you know, those Rick's buildings? I don't think it was a traditional building method down here.
No.
It was. I don't know.
But if it was
compatible, it's about being
Compatible.
yeah. So I mean, I would argue that if the massing, the thickness of the walls, and all the other criteria, design criteria that are involved in, you know, making compatible buildings, if you could achieve that well, if you could achieve it with ICF, why couldn't you achieve it with rammed earth?
Exactly.
Because you usually don't stucco the rammed earth.
Well, that would have to be specified, yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't complain if there was a rammed earth building that was.
No, and is it different than an ICF on stucco? Yeah. I think this allows for these considerations, right? I mean, I agree with Steven. I mean, it seems like rammed earth in this board would need a discussion, so it would fall onto alternative masonry materials, right? And that's so it's fine, it's covered. Well,
Cool.
Tell me what you'd like me to do.
I would leave the word in masonry unless
yeah,
people put
me
out.
too.
Masonry, okay.
So wait, so how have we accounted for rammed earth? Or have we?
It's in there. It's in the alternative masonry materials.
Doesn't masonry, sorry to be, but isn't masonry putting like units on top of other units with a, you know, a compressed architecture based on, you know, unit blocks?
You're right. It's probably has to do with the stacking, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, can we pull out the first Adobe and just put rammed earth there?
Well, then you're allowing it.
Yeah, were we not allowing?
I would be fine with allowing it totally, but is that something we?
So, yeah, I mean, is it historic? No, but is it a modern?
Better than a CMU block with stucco? Well,
yeah, as long as, so it's a modern expression of a mud building.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, so I'm open here, but it just.
When we leave alternative masonry / earthen materials will be considered on a case-by-case basis.
Sure.
Does that work?
Looks okay to me.
Philip, you look skeptical.
Yeah, I'm just a slash. Does it mean and or?
No.
That's what I'm.
Masonry or
Yeah.
And or.
Okay.
Yeah.
You want and or?
Oh no, I didn't. That's fine. Or is fine.
Okay. Okay. Little things. This is a typo. This should be BH.
That typo.
Yeah.
Hold on. Just move on one bit. Let me see what. Can you go back to the expanded development zone?
Which, Michael?
Yeah, right there. Just give me 1 minute. And it's
Okay.
No, the expanded development zone is not requested by the board. It is requested by the applicants. The applicant requests, if an applicant comes to you and there are not enough properties within the development zone for them to use as a basis, maybe for their height or whatever thing they are going to do, it is the applicant that requests an expanded development zone. That expanded development zone is done by the zoning administrator, and that applicant brings back that expanded development zone to the board. It is not the board that requests the expanded development zone. If the board requests it, let the board be ready to pay. There's a fee associated with that. And the board will have no interest. All the board has to do is to say the property you are trying to use is outside your development zone. So the applicant will then go and request an expanded development zone from the zoning administrator. So that sentence of requested by the board is not correct in terms of the process.
Where is that, Michael? I'm not seeing
Just a
it.
little bit farther down. Hope you're almost there.
Oh, I see. Okay. All right. Okay.
Yeah, the red where it says by the board should be by the applicant.
Yes.
Okay. Same here under secondary. Does that say the same?
Yes.
By the
Capitalized, I think.
capitalized applicant? If I did that. Okay.
That makes sense to me. Well, it's reads more nicer now, for sure.
I know that Philip requested an expanded development zone, I think, one point. Either it was you or somebody's.
Oh, here we go. Colors.
Uh-huh.
So what is this UDC 5.8.9?
It's a design review standards. Which lists all these things that you are looking at: the height, the setback, the rhythm, the site utilization.
Put it up here.
So does that mean it is color review is in there? Is Damien making that up?
It's part of the review. It's part of the items that are that you use in your design.
Okay.
But only if you're coming anyway for review. Oh,
Yeah, okay.
yeah.
Now I will say having black and dark colors is so pointed. I don't know about that.
Well, yeah, it's like it's a relative statement, like dark colors. When does it start to be dark?
I'm just wondering, we could remove that line. I feel like we would still have the same authority to influence color.
Yeah, it's like a suggestion. But
What do you think?
Why remove it, Hope?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, because it feels a little
strong arm.
subjective.
Hmm.
Like we're not saying, I guess dark colors, like we're not saying maroon or forest green. But believe me, I mean, I would be happy to leave that in there. I just don't like it to look like it's personal.
Could you flip it and say instead what the typical colors are found in the neighborhood or in the zone?
It would be awesome if we could develop and have available a color palette. That would be really
Yeah.
cool.
How about this? How about not black? How about just dark colors?
I mean, I'm reading color under that UDC 5.8.9, and it seems like color is completely reviewable under that.
If the project is reviewable, Paolo.
So this is new. This is under new construction.
I don't know what this is under
Any
alterations.
project that's under review.
Bill, where's it?
Alterations of existing structures. Okay.
If a project qualifies for review, then we review according to this.
Are you reading that under the UDC?
No, this is just, there's projects that don't have to be reviewed, so this doesn't apply. There's projects that have to be reviewed, then this applies. That's the distinction to what we looked at in the beginning. Minor alterations, like it was mentioned before, not all of them have to be reviewed.
Okay. Well, here's what I would say. Maybe just leave it as is. And I sure would like to, if we ever got to change that, like what qualifies for a minor review. Painting would be a good one.
Yeah, I agree. If we could influence that, but it seems Desiree was clear that we can't.
Yeah.
Desiree, are there historic districts that specify color palette?
No.
I'm asking Desiree.
Oh. Yeah, I would probably defer to Michael anyhow. So
Oh.
he's been here longer.
No,
But
not
I
in
did.
Tucson. I'm saying.
Oh, just generally.
Yeah, generally.
I think there are. Yeah, I think there are, but they're both departments I've worked for previously. We didn't regulate color. Generally speaking, there are, always some exceptions, like I mentioned earlier, with individually significant buildings. Sometimes we would look at color, or if sitting funds were involved, things like that. But generally, for like single family homes, that's not something we would look at. But I have heard of some districts that do. I did copy and paste in the chat from our UDC what it says about color. So it does say they should be, appropriate to the historic period, but that color may be reviewed in the context of a required HPC review. Painting alone shall not be considered through an HPC review.
Mhm.
So it's one of those, case by case situations. But I think it's fine to recommend, colors, and then as appropriate, if it applies to that review, then you have some guidance there.
Yeah, I think the board has the liberty to recommend colors that are good for your district. It does not mean that you are saying that the person must only use those. Those are the prevailing colors within the district. You can say that in your design guideline. So somebody who does not know the history of the place and looking at it will know that, okay, these are the kind of colors that are usually appropriate for this district. I think the board has that authority to come up with that kind of list, but the code, based on what the code says, just like Desiree is saying, it's not. Usually what we do when people come to us for color, we just say, hey, make sure you are trying to use the colors that are existing within your development zone. Please don't bring in something very crazy. Just make sure you stay within the same color palette, the same tone of what is going on in your district. You should be fine.
So do we know what was the predominant colors historically? I mean, I can make a guess, but was there actually color other than natural lime, earth, brick, you know, wood? Was there colors beyond that? Or did this San Miguelization of the barrio happen later?
It happened later.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, definitely. And I mean, I've like in the early days, you go look at old pictures and there's no stucco. And then when they started stuccoing, I doubt if they started painting right away. So, I mean, it depends on, I suppose, how far you go back. But for perspective, the color, the San Miguelization, as you call it, which is perfect. That only started happening in the late 70s.
Which is after, yeah.
Yeah, as far as I know,
Yes,
you'd have to ask. I'd want to get that confirmed, but I don't remember. And I love all the colors. I have a dog here that's being vocal. I love all the colors, but I don't think that this is historic. So it's a tough one.
But we know black and dark colors were not ever
I would agree with
unusual.
yes. In fact, until only months ago.
I mean, we could encourage, we can say historically, it is assumed that the historic colors were based on natural materials like lime, earth, or soil, you know, and you know, and we don't have to mention colors, but we can say that what might have been predominant historically. I mean, I don't know who would know this exactly, and what if there's a source for that. I think it's right, but I don't know.
We can look back at the nomination and see, you know, if that's something that was mentioned as a character defining feature. I mean, not to make it too theoretical, but you know, there are also instances where, you know, later time periods, different layers of history, right, become important to a neighborhood too. So like in San Francisco, for example, the painted ladies, you know, kind of trend became significant later, but the buildings weren't always so colorful, right, initially. So is the kind of color, is that an important layer of history to Barrio Historico, you know, even after maybe it wasn't originally? So that's something that could think about, could do more research on.
Yeah, and I mean, you know, it's not just San Miguel, Philip, it's, you know, even Nogales or any town in Sonora is going to have like wonderful pastel colors. And so I think that was kind of the motivation of probably Kelly Rawlings or whoever started this trend in the barrio.
Yeah, but
So,
those are very pastel. Yeah, those are, yes. Yeah. I'm talking about grass green and
yeah.
like that. Yeah.
Almost any pastel,
Yeah.
even a bright one, would be preferable to black.
Mm-hmm.
Do you not like the black house, Hope?
Oh, okay.
Talk about specific projects here, right? Yeah, I think we should think about this. This specific one, I mean, it's such an area of contention in the neighborhood, right? And we have this unique chance now to actually, if we wanted to, give certain direction without being maybe, you know, too directive, but to set a tone, you know, that future boards can work with. I think it's a chance. I didn't know we could, but it seems we can for these projects like Desiree's, what she posted says, those projects that can be reviewed or are being reviewed.
Okay, so this paragraph should stand then? As it is? I mean, I guess
I
that,
think so.
okay.
Okay, moving on. A lot of rearrangement. So is everyone okay with this? I'm trying to see exactly what he was doing. Just consolidated.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, let's stop here.
Yeah. Oh, wow. This is just what we were talking about last time, right?
Mm-hmm. So art, so we kind of walk a line here. I'm going to start the conversation not about murals, but about yard art or applied art on gates and things like that. And I'll give you a hypothetical, a kind of extreme hypothetical. If I wanted to put a sculpture garden in front of my house, and let me extend that a little bit, and my neighbor wanted to do that as well. And then across the street where there's some other Victorians that have setbacks, if they wanted to put art in the front of their houses, I would argue that compromises the neighborhood as a historic resource. And I'm not opposed to art, but even actually on Simpson Street, I think there's a rogue re-stucco job on some units on the north side of Simpson, close to Convent. And just yesterday or day before, they completed one duplex, the re-stucco, and on one of them now, there's a charming little saguaro that is applied in stucco on the front. Well-intentioned, but I just have questions as that it's not historic, that wasn't done.
There's a complaint forthcoming on that, Stephen,
Okay.
by me, submitted on Sunday.
Okay.
Oh,
Way to go, Paulo. And I mean, it's a healthy discussion that can be made for, creativity and things like that. But our job, we have to protect this neighborhood, this historic resource that we have. Everyone knows how much we've lost in terms of historic resource, buildings. And it's really critical that we try to keep this as intact and historic as we can. So I'm not sure what I'm asking here in terms of the sculpture garden. Uh, but should we put something, should we start to address like art? I mean, that, the Aztec warrior is a perfect example.
But I was told, I was on the minor review of that, there was lawyers in that meeting, that that's under freedom of speech. That the art piece, the suckle, we could, what
That's
the
that's
art
on
is
the
sitting on, that was what
Yeah,
we were allowed to review.
that's on a building. Yeah, that's an
Yeah.
easy one.
So I don't think we can, I'm not sure, but I don't think we can override this here.
So I guess, Desiree, could you address this from a kind of broad perspective? Is there any precedent for this concern nationally?
Yeah, I mean, what I've seen mostly is murals are not generally regulated. Artwork is generally not regulated. Yard art, things like that, because of the free speech issue. Also, if they don't require a permit, if they're reversible or per the Secretary of the Interior standards, there are a lot of reasons why we wouldn't review things like that. There might be some certain cases that, maybe it's an individually significant or individually eligible building and it's public art, right? And we would have a role in reviewing that. But generally, kind of private art in people's yards wouldn't be allowed. This is something we could get, legal interpretation on. Happy to do that. And, if you want to provide your questions or recommendations, and then we could take it to our, zoning folks and city attorney to get clarity on what is allowed per, our code to review.
Okay. I mean, it's probably a losing proposition, but, and I mean, I don't mean to be, I don't, I think you guys get what my motive here, but it's not to restrict, creativity or anything, but
Right.
anyway.
Yeah, I mean, there might be some certain, like we talked about paint, right? But we wouldn't want paint to go on an exposed like brick or masonry, house. So there might be certain specific types of projects that we would look at, but yeah, happy to get back to you on that.
Okay. Yeah, that'd be great. So back to the wording. I pretty much said my piece here.
Are you suggesting adding anything, changing anything?
I don't think I can. I don't think it's in our purview, unless I've missed something.
And then I forgot to mention the signage. So signage advertising kind of falls into a different category. So that is something that we would look at.
Wouldn't murals fall underneath artwork? Why is that? There's just an overlap with signage, but outside of that overlap, murals would be considered art, no?
Yes.
And so these specifications are overreach based on what you just shared?
This is a section we can look at, like I mentioned, and provide some feedback maybe at the next meeting. I do think some of it might be overreach, but I'm happy to double check.
So it sounds like this murals issue and the paint color issue are the two things that Desiree, you're going to check on. And I think the only thing I would say is we want to make sure we don't add months onto our process here.
So I think it would be good for Desiree if we tell her what we would like if we had all the freedom. Then
I
she
think
has
it's
really
clear.
something concrete to work with. Like on the color, would we like to say
Yeah, exactly.
certain yeah, that's the question, right? Like that there is a certain palette and it's in the pastel, it's in the bright, It's in the natural, because that's the historic, nature. And then Desiree could check if that is something we can make a suggestion on, or we can still see if we suggest it, if we prescribe it, whatever, we can talk about that. That's on the color, and on the art, I'm not sure where the board in the moment wants to go. Like, Stephen, I don't fully understand. I mean, you would like to regulate the sculpture in front of a private house?
No, I mean, I don't know. It just, I fear, the character of the neighborhood changing into something that isn't, that never was. That's all.
But isn't that, I mean, yeah.
I'm
Desiree?
also, well, I'm also seeing the part about the historic hand painted advertising. So that could potentially, I've seen that be treated as historic character defining feature because it was there, right? So the actual paint being part of the physical fabric. So just wanted to clarify that. Again, I'll get some clarity, but there's kind of a difference between, new commercial signage and historic advertising, which is more of a mural.
And am I correct in assuming that political signage falls under free speech, not any kind of signage regulation?
Yes.
I would think so.
Yes.
And then
And
is art
that's-
political? I think that's a discussion too high.
I mean, it's so slippery. It's so
Yes,
slippery.
so I wouldn't, I mean, there's not,
Yeah, but political
It's not-
signs are all pretty much temporary too. They're like stuck in the yard and taken down
I
later.
mean, like Christmas lights, one would hope, but people.
Can we keep this section as pending and then move ahead to the other ones? And then when we staff gets clarification and brings to you, then maybe you can do something on this.
So I have a question that's more specific. It says historic painted advertising, and it says that it has not allowed on primary facades or lime plaster walls. But if I look at two structures, the one northeast corner of Simpson and Convent, that always had the advertising on there. It's the primary facade, and there was a long discussion. I don't think they did a great job in restoring it, but they tried. That's on the primary facade, so why would we not allow that? And the same on the Elysian Grove, right? That was always on the primary facade. Was a horrible job done, unfortunately. They didn't do it like it says here. But so I don't fully understand that.
Yeah, it's a little unclear because if it's historic, it's already there. So are we saying we would remove it or we would just leave it as
Yeah,
is?
exactly.
Yeah, I mean, this
We-
section
we
seems to
can
be about
follow
new
what-
things, but then it's talking about historic advertising, so it's kind of confusing to me.
I think there are too many things that are put on here that are really not required. So once staff will come back to you, I think we can scale this down to, general statements or things like that. There are too many things mentioned here that makes it confused.
Yeah, it's confusing.
Yeah.
We have to clean it up. Yeah.
We need to clean it up. And also for making regulation around things that are beyond our control, are we just challenging people to, like, some people enjoy a fight. So like are
That's
we
not our intent. That's not our intent, though. So let's just keep this, and then when we come back, we can get better language to better clarify and then make it more simpler and more user friendly. As it is right now, I think it's complicated. It's a little bit too much for the mom and pop to really understand exactly what people need here.
So Desiree, are you comfortable kind of making some kind of editing this? Just having heard what our concerns have been and proposing some wording?
Yes, I could do that.
Okay, so I'll do my cleanup, probably not till tomorrow morning. And then I'll send it back to you, Desiree and
Okay.
Michael, and then you can add your changes. Okay.
Sounds good.
All right, I'm gonna keep scrolling. He must have put this somewhere else.
Why did Damien, delete the whole thing? Do we know?
Well, because I think he might have.
It's earlier.
Ah,
Yeah.
I think it is earlier.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna confirm that so we don't.
yeah, it's on page 25.
There we go.
Okay, there it is. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Okay, that's that. Okay, here we go. I don't know where he came up
understand
with
what's
this.
what's a courtesy review to assist property owners? What does that mean, offers? That we already talked about previously. Why is this coming up here?
Specifically about the view.
I don't get it.
I think he means houses on South Sentinel Avenue.
Yeah, it's also Mesa Street instead of Mias.
Yeah.
And then why would he take out for renovations to an existing residence, privacy concerns of neighbors should be considered? That's a good
Yeah, we
sentence,
just put
no?
that in.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think we keep that.
I'm not sure why the paragraph about these houses are here, but I mean, they can stay.
Yeah. I think it's saying because they're not, like, they got to do it because they're part of a different district and they get reviewed separately.
Hmm.
In case anyone tried to point to them.
This is just a cleanup thing, but it seems like when Damien has input the board name, he's saying like there's an extra letter in there. I don't see one
Yeah.
right now, but
Yeah.
yeah, I think maybe you just do a general search for that at some point and make them all
Yeah.
consistent.
Yeah, I think I might have seen
So there's
another
no
one
P,
earlier.
right?
Correct.
Is that what it is? There's no P. Okay.
Unless there's another board.
Okay. There be a word in here of? That made better
Design of.
sense.
Mhm.
Okay. All right.
think this is a good addition.
I think it's great.
think he had
Yeah.
one particular project in mind here.
Guys, I have one more question for the views and Vista. I've been pondering about this. We had in that the board is not empowered to demand the following, but compliance is strongly encouraged. Is that a correct sentence or not?
We just went through this. I don't know where it came from.
Have it on my list, just add it to check about views and vistas.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah,
Because-
a lot of times we don't have the power to regulate that.
yeah,
So I just want to double check to see if maybe we do. I don't know.
yeah. Because it says should not impede vistas of the mountains, and that's a strong formulation. And is, I mean, like we should make sure that that's actually regulatable.
Okay.
Where is that? What
It's at the bottom of page 32.
that has been struck?
It was struck. It was the first line that was struck. And I know we just came up with it.
Okay.
I just want to say, like, if you have an empty lot,
Yeah.
somebody builds a new building there, which we would encourage maybe, and the neighbor says, well, I can't see the mountain from my porch now anymore. What happens, right? I mean,
Yeah.
like
That's
that-
overreach. That's
yeah.
over.
Yeah. Okay, so Desiree, you're going to help us with this.
Yeah, we would, because the issue with that is if the person is meeting the allowable height per zoning and has other comparable height to demonstrate within the development zone, then you have no authority of limiting them from going higher.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Should not impede is, I'm not sure if that can be, is correct, yeah.
We will look at that.
Yeah.
That will be another to-do thing for Desiree when we look at
Okay.
when we look at.
All right, I'm looking at the clock. I don't have a lot of time left here. Okay,
Wherever you
this was good. We were good on this. How refreshing. Huh. Okay, now we're down to our resources.
Yeah, he didn't have any comments there.
Hey, we're at the, I don't know why it says there are 45 pages, but oh, I'm at the 45. We're done. We did it.
Hey, way to go.
Way to go.
Okay, so like I'll just say I'm gonna go through this and clean it up, accept the changes we've agreed on. I'm gonna do some, I saw check for the consistencies and I saw some spacing issues, and then I'll return it.
Preservation brief here is capital B, a small b.
Oh, it should be a big B.
Yeah.
Hey, Hope. I
Yeah.
forgot about this, but way up at the top, let's not go there, but where it describes the boundaries, there's there's something like North Cushing Street or something like that. And if you could just look at that, there isn't.
Okay.
It's
That's right.
an easy one.
Okay.
Well, getting really close.
Great work.
Okay. Okay, that's what I'm gonna do.
Did I make a motion to adjourn? Anybody?
I second it.
Okay.
We need to go to staff updates and
Oh, sorry.
Do we have any new ones?
Michael, are there any staff updates?
No, I don't have any particular update now. I think what I had to say, I've said it to you before. I do have some minor reviews coming up. I've been tapping on Grace to help me with those minor reviews. And then, Hope, I have not forgotten about your project. I did not request you to submit anything. I saw the email that you sent today.
Yeah,
This was not from me. I don't know whether it was auto-generated by the system or what. You have enough for us to undertake that review. I'm just trying
okay.
to show that we do it correctly. Apparently, based on what you sent today, are you in court for that project? Do you have a court case? Do you have a citation?
I do,
Would
but it was
you-
dismissed last week.
Okay, can you provide that information to me? please?
Yes.
Is that 479 South Convent? Hope.
Yep.
Yes,
I have a question of the minor reviews, Michael.
yes.
432 South Meyer, for solar gutters. Is that what is the
It's
solar?
not yet done. It's still pending.
Okay, what is the solar gutter?
When we go out there, then I'll see it. I don't know what that is.
Oh, okay.
I want one.
I just
Yeah,
Googled it and it seems to be a thing, solar powered
Solar
or
power
gutter lights. I've never heard of that either.
Yeah, that's a new one.
Okay, so make a motion to adjourn meeting for Monday, May 12th, 2025. Have a second.
Second.
I second.
Okay.
So who do you pick?
What?
I seen the chair. There. So many people second at the same time.
I'll
Who do you-
retreat. It's hopes.
Okay.
Okay, I'm yes. Philip,
Yes.
Stephen,
Yes.
Hope,
Yes.
Darren,
Yes.
Grace,
Yes.
Mitch.
Yep.
Great, thank you guys.
Thanks, everybody.
Have a great night,
Thank
everyone.
you.
Thank
Ciao,
you.
Ciao.
Thank you all.